Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Bacon. Welcome to the show, y'all. I learned a long time ago that the easiest money to steal ain't from banks or armored trucks. It's from love. You can always find somebody out there who loves somebody locked up more than they love their own sleep, their own sanity, their own light bill. All you got to do is talk the right way, at the right time, when the fear in their chest is louder than the voice in their head saying, don't do that. That's how this whole mess started. With a phone call, with some shut-off notices spread across a kitchen table, with a mama named Lorraine Carter trying to decide if she was going to pay the power company or finance her son's next mistake. And yeah, he came to me after it all blew up. But by the time I stepped into it, the damage was already halfway done. Her boy's name was DeAndre Carter, young dude, late 20s, but still moved like a teenager who thought consequences were just rumors. Old folks used to scare kids that DeAndre had that jittery ambition, always plotting, always scheming, never sitting still. He wasn't the biggest, wasn't the meanest, wasn't the smartest, but he had that hustle itch that wouldn't leave him alone. Problem was, he never wanted to grind slow. He wanted shortcuts, elevator rides, straight to the top of a building that didn't even have solid foundation yet. You seen his mama's face? You could tell she'd been through every version of, I'm sorry, Mom. The boy could come up with, you talk to her on the phone, you hear that smile she puts on just to stop herself from crying. She'd end every call with, I'm praying for you, baby. And he'd end every call with, I got you when I get out, Mom. Just wait. But the truth was, he didn't want to wait. Didn't want to wait on time or work or legit money. He wanted a flip. Now, if you ain't never been behind this wall, you might not understand the hustle that goes on just to keep a man feeling like he still got some kind of power out there. Prison ain't just steel and concrete. It's an economy. Phones, pills, weed, K2, tobacco, candy bars, information, everything got a tag on it. DeAndre had been dabbling in little stuff, running messages, slipping a little tobacco, doing favors, but that wasn't enough for him. He wanted to be somebody in here. And in his head, somebody meant the man holding the stash that everybody else depended on. So one night, lock up, the whole unit humming quiet, I'm on the phone a couple booths down, minding my business, but still hearing everything like you do in here. And I hear him hit that tone that every manipulator uses when they call home. Ma, you listening? She said soft, tired. I'm here, baby, gone. He took a breath like he was about to say something noble. Instead, he started laying out a scam. Ma, I need you to trust me this one last time. Anytime somebody starts a sentence like that, what comes next ain't never holy. He said, I got a situation lined up. There's a dude in here can put some work in my hands. Solid dude, trusted. It ain't no random foolishness. If I can get about $450 on my books, I can buy in, break it down, move it, and double it easy. She didn't say nothing at first. You could almost hear her looking at her bills. You could almost hear that red ink on the letters staring back at her, DeAndre. She sighed. I'm behind right now. Rent due in 2 weeks. Light bill ain't been paid. Gas company already sent me a second notice. I ain't got no extra to play with. He jumped in quick. Manipulation wearing sneakers. Ma, I ain't talking about playing with it. I'm talking about fixing it. You send me $450 in 2 weeks, I can send you 9. You ain't got to be behind no more. You ain't got to be stressing every time you see a white envelope in the mail. This ain't me asking for commissary. This is business. He called it business, but what he really meant was, I want to gamble with your survival. She tried to fight it. You could hear her battling herself. Last time you told me something like this, you ended up in there, she said. I used my tax money to help you get right, and you got locked up with the same mess you promised me was money in the bank. He lowered his voice, soft as silk. Ma, I was young. I was wild. This time I'm focused. I got time to think now. I know what I'm doing. I swear to you, I ain't taking no stupid chances. This is structured. I already got buyers. I already got a plan to move it. I just need that stall. He said that word plan like it was bulletproof. But in here, most plans got rust on them before they even leave the ground. Her voice started cracking. DeAndre, I'm tired, baby. I'm real tired. I'm working doubles. I'm taking my shoes off at night and my feet still feel like I'm standing up. You got little cousins asking where you at. I gotta decide whether to buy meat or pay insurance. He heard all that pain and still pressed. Because when you're desperate, somebody else's exhaustion just becomes another obstacle you think you can talk your way around. He dropped his voice even lower. Ma, you the only one I got. If I don't make this move, I'ma be in here begging and borrowing from these dudes, and you know how that go. You don't want nobody owning your son in here. Let me stand up on my own, Tina. I promise you I'll get you right first. Before I touch $1 for me, I'm sending it home. This is for us. That word is dash dash. That's the hook. He made her feel like it wasn't just his hustle. It was their rescue mission. She went quiet again. Long enough that even the CEO at the desk looked up like he could feel the weight of it. Finally, she said, how much you need again? Right there. That's when she stepped off the ledge. I watched him after that. He couldn't sit still. Kept checking the kiosk to see if the money hit. Kept telling anybody who listened that he had a little something lined up. I ain't say nothing to him at first. I don't chase nobody to stop them from drowning if they still think they swimming. A couple days later, he checked his balance and his whole face lit up. You would have thought he got released. There it go, he muttered. Ma came through. He walked different after that. Chest a little higher, smile a little wider. Like digits on a screen turned him into another man. But all I saw when I looked at him was a light bill past due and a refrigerator on the outside that was about to be half empty. He didn't come to me for the connect. That's important to understand. He already had some low-level plug in here, a dude with more nerve than brains, sneaking stuff in through laundry and visits and God knows what else. They met up in the day room, talking low, hiding their mouths behind chessboards and peanut butter sandwiches like that made them invisible. I heard enough to know the basics. DeAndre was buying into a package, taking on the risk, counting on his charm and speed to move it before anything bad happened. Bad things in here don't knock first, though. He got his hands on the product, split it up sloppy. Placed some in a fake bottom of his foot locker, some in his mattress, a little in a rolled up sock. Every one of them spots was in the first places of CO checks, handbook, couple dudes bought from him quick. Word didn't even spread far yet. He was still in that honeymoon phase, thinking, see, I knew it. I knew I had it. Then one afternoon, right between count and chow, 2 COs and a sergeant rolled up on his cell. Carter, pack out, we searching. He tried to keep his face calm, but his hands told on him. They shook just enough that anybody watching could see the fear. Prison shakedowns ain't gentle. They flipped his mattress, dumped his bin, ripped open bags, shook books, checked shoes. Didn't take long. One of them stuck a hand down the side of the mattress, came back up with that little bundle like he just reached into the couch and found rent money. Look at here, the sergeant said, a voice flat, no surprise. This wasn't his first score of the day. DeAndre tried to say it wasn't his. Tried to look shocked, tried to act like they planted it, but the way that man stared at him, you could tell he'd heard every version of that song before. They cuffed him right in the doorway, walked him past the rest of us while we pretended not to be watching. Some dudes smirked, some shook their heads. Few of us just filed the moment away as a reminder. See, out there they say easy come, easy go. In here it's more like stupid come, hard time stay. They didn't throw him straight in the hole. He got a disciplinary, lost some privileges, got shuffled to another cell. But the real damage wasn't written on no paper. The real damage had a face and a first name and an overdue light bill and a heartbreaking 2 towns away. A couple weeks later, he came looking for me, and I was sitting at a table in the day room watching a half-dead TV and half-dead a card game. He slid into the chair across from me, eyes jumpy, knee bouncing. "Joe, man, I need to holler at you," he said. Voice low, respect mixed with panic. I didn't rush, didn't lean in or act eager. In here, urgency is a weapon. Whoever acts like they got time is the one in control. "What's up?" I asked. He looked around, making sure no ears were too close, then said, "I messed up bad. I owe money I ain't got. And my mama, man," he trailed off. Guilt choked the rest. I waited, let the silence pull the truth out of him. Finally, it spilled. "I had her send me bill money," he admitted. "Her rent and lights. I told her I'd double it. She pawned some stuff, pushed some payments back to get it to me. Now the dope gone, the police got the write-up, the plug want his cut, and my mama keep asking when she gonna see something, come back. I'm stuck, Joe. I'm stuck bad. I can't fight everybody who gonna have a problem with this. I ain't got that many punches in me, and I need help." That's when he looked me dead in my face like I was some kind of judge, and Linda rolled into one in the crazy part. In here I kind of was. Now let me say this clear. People on the outside sometimes listen to me talk now and think I was some counselor or big brother in here praying with dudes and walking them through self-help steps. I wasn't. I was running my own operation. Yeah, I talked to people. Yeah, I gave out advice sometimes, but a lot of the help I gave came with invisible strings attached. I didn't move out of pure charity, and I moved out of business, morally gray business, and sometimes damn near black. So when DeAndre came to me, I didn't see a charity case. I saw leverage. I saw a man in the corner so tight, he signed up for almost anything to get a few inches of space. "How much you owe?" I asked him. He sighed, eyes dropping. "4 and some change to the plug, about 400 to my mom's. I promised her 9, but if I can just get her what she gave me back, maybe she don't lose everything." "So you looking at 900, I said. He nodded. "Think she got a cutoff date?" I asked. He swallowed. She said they already sent a notice. Said if she don't have the money by the end of the month, they talking eviction. There it was, a clock, a mama on the edge, a son boxed in on both sides. To me, sitting in the middle with options he didn't even know existed yet. I leaned forward then, elbows on the table, voice low. "You really want my help?" I asked. He nodded like his neck was on a string. "You understand I don't do favors," I said. "And if I step into this, it's business, not emotional, not we homies, not I feel sorry for you, but you cool with that?" He hesitated for half a second, then said, "I'll do whatever I gotta do, Joe. I just can't let nothing happen to my mama. And I can't have nobody in here putting hands on me over something I can fix." He really believed he could fix it. And that's the tragic part. I looked him over one more time and made my decision. "All right then," I told him, "I'll help you. But it's gonna cost you more than you think." He nodded again, not even asking how much yet. Desperation was signing a blank check. And with that, the real debt started. Not the money he owed the plug. Not even the money he stole out his mama's future. The debt he took on that day was to me. He didn't ask the price right away. Men who still think they have options ask questions. Men who know the walls are closing in just listen. I could see it all over him. His pride was already gone. His confidence was gone. And the little fake crown he wore around this place had slipped clean off. All that was left was that look. The look of a man who knows his next mistake might be the one that ruins everything. "Here's what I'm gonna do," I told him. "I'll cover the plug before he decides to make you an example." His shoulders dropped like someone finally took a weight off his back. But I wasn't done. Not even close. "But you ain't paying me back with money," I said. You already proved you don't manage money well. He blinked. Yeah, what you mean? You gonna work, I explained it. You gonna run errands, deliver messages, pick up drops, handle little things I don't want to put my name on, and not long term, just until your debt gone. Truth was, I didn't need him. But having somebody who owed you, that's worth something in here. A body you can place in the middle of a situation you don't want to stand in yourself. A voice who can say things you can't be heard saying. A buffer between you and the wrong type of attention. He nodded fast, too fast. Yeah, Joe. Yeah, whatever. I'll do that. Then he asked the question he should have asked at the beginning. How much do I owe you? I leaned back. Depends how long it takes me to clean up your mess. He swallowed again. He knew what that meant. He knew there wasn't going to be a calculator involved. First thing I did was reach out to the plug, Calvin Stacks Moore. Stacks was the kind of dude who never said more than necessary and never forgot a debt. He wasn't loud, wasn't reckless, didn't bring heat to himself. That's why he lasted so long. I caught him after chow, near the mock closet where the COs rarely patrol. Heard Carter got himself jammed up. I said, he just smirked like he'd been expecting that train wreck. Stacks said, boy thought he could be a boss before he even learned how to be a worker. Word is you out a few hundred, I said. I'm here about that. He raised an eyebrow. You paying? Or you just checking the temperature? Both, I told him. I ain't about to let the unit get messy behind somebody else's stupidity. Stack sized me up for a second, then nodded. He trusted my word more than DeAndre's logic. Smart man at 450, he said. And he give me that, we good. And he don't give me that, he better find a dark corner to hide in forever. I didn't argue, didn't negotiate, and didn't try to cut it down. Sometimes you get more loyalty by not trying to haggle. I paid it. Clean, quick, no questions, and debt wiped. But that didn't mean DeAndre was free. When he found out I'd already handled it, he looked relieved enough to cry. Now, Joe, man, thank you. I ain't know what I was gonna. I stopped him with a hand. Save it. You ain't out the woods. Your mama's still hanging by a thread. His face dropped again. That part hurt him more than the plug situation. Yeah, I know. I gotta tell her something. No, I said, you gotta fix something. Talking ain't your lane. You talked her into this mess. Talking ain't getting her out. He looked confused, so I spelled it out. You gonna work. Whatever time you're not sleeping, eating, or locking down, you gonna be moving for me. I gotta get my investment back and get enough to send your mama something too, or she gonna lose everything. He nodded. He didn't even ask what the jobs were. Didn't care. Fear had carved out the part of his brain that usually hesitated. The next few weeks, he turned into a shadow version of me. Not a partner, a tool, a runner who did the parts I didn't feel like doing. He moved notes between cells. He passed tobacco rolls to the right hands. He took chess games upstairs to dudes who weren't even playing chess. They was playing politics. He delivered snacks to a lifer who controlled half the damn unit. Nothing big and nothing violent, and just greasy little tasks that made the day go smoother. And the crazy thing, he was good at it. He had the face for it. The innocent look, the I'm lost but trying vibe that made COs overlook him. Every time he made a move, I paid attention. Every time he came back clean, I took mental notes. But the most important part, every week I sent his mama $40, then $60, then $80, little by little, until she wasn't drowning anymore. I never told her it was me. She just assumed her son was finally making better choices. Maybe that lie helped her sleep easier. Then, one night after count, I saw DeAndre sitting on his bunk, head in his hands. He finished a long day of running, and his body looked like it was giving out from stress. I sat on the opposite bunk. "What's heavy on you now?" I asked. He took a deep breath. "Ma wrote me today," he said. "She said she got the money. She thanked me. She said she proud of me." Then his voice cracked. "But I ain't do nothing to deserve that." It hit him, that guilt he thought he was immune to. The realization that his mama was praising him for something he didn't do. Something he'd never be disciplined enough to do on his own. "You want to know the truth about your mama?" I told him. "She ain't proud because of money. She proud because she still believes you can change, and she ain't stopped hoping yet. That's stronger than any dollar amount you could send." He nodded slowly, quiet, broken in a different way. That moment right there, that was the first time he stopped hustling for himself and started hustling because he finally understood the consequences he kept throwing at other people. A couple more weeks went by. His debt to me shrank. His mama stabilized. The plug forgot about him. And slowly, real slow, DeAndre started looking like a human again instead of a tornado. One night he came up to me with a small envelope, shook it like it had bones in it. Inside was everything he'd saved from a few odd jobs he picked up independently. "This is for my mama," he said. "I want her to feel something from me for real. Not a lie, not a favor. Something I earned." I nodded, didn't say much. Sometimes silence shows more respect than a speech. I mailed it for him. 2 days later, she responded with a letter that smelled like her house. Fabric softener, old wood, and the faintest trace of hair grease. She wrote that she was proud, not because of money, but because he sounded different, clearer, steadier, like a man who was finally thinking before jumping. That letter hit him harder than his punishment ever did. And that's when he finally understood the whole point. Not the hustle, not the debt, not the prison politics, but the truth. Somebody out there was losing sleep because of him, and she didn't deserve it. By the time his debt to me was gone, he offered to keep working. Not out of obligation, but out of maturity. That was new for him, brand new. But I told him no. He'd done his part. And truthfully, too much loyalty can be just as dangerous as no loyalty at all in here. He went back to being regular, not big time and not hustling and not scheming, just a man trying to keep his head low and his mama's mailbox clean. Funny thing though, every time somebody tried to rope him into something shady after that, he'd shake his head and say, "Nah, man, I ain't letting my mama down no more." And that was the real payoff. Not the money, not the work, not the leverage, but watching somebody finally understand the damage they've been causing and do better. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.